Hey everyone, it's Phil from Tech for Techs. Today we are looking at the in-store PC builder by Target Components. This video is sponsored by the Tender Nova. The Nova Mesh Wi-Fi systems from Tender provide better coverage to your whole home. Connect more devices and get the bandwidth you are paying for across your whole home. And Tech for Techs highly recommend this product. Okay then everyone, today we are looking at the in-store PC builder by Target Components. Target Components are a UK based distributor, so if you are not a reseller and you are outside of the United Kingdom, you will not be able to use this. But otherwise, if you are, to get set up, all you have to do is go to their website, which is targetcomponents.co.uk, and click open an account at the top left corner up here. Once you've done that and created an account and it's been approved, you'll then be able to apply and set up the in-store PC builder, which is on the right hand side of the screen here. So let's click on that. It tells you the basics about it. In-store PC builder version 2, sign me up now, new features, 20% more components, and all this, that and the other, as well as all the information you need, including information about 3-year warranties, basic build costs, and all this, that and the other. But basics is, once you've read through all that and you're happy with it and so forth, you click sign me up now. Once you've got it set up, you can then basically go to your web address, which it is hosted at, which is generally https blah 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 .instorepcbuilder.co.uk / your company name here. For example, as you can see, ours says chips. That is your main page. You can obviously link it in with your website and stuff like that, but bear in mind when I say you can link it in on your website, people can't purchase stuff directly through this. The idea is people come into your store, or you go to them and then you basically quote them for a PC then and there. Either they can play with a tool or you can do it. It's so you can interact with a customer. Okay, so once you're here, as you can see, it's pretty easy to figure out what's what. You have your logo at the top, you can see all the components there, including the case there. You looks like you've got a recall quote there. You've got a little builder help video, and you can see they're authorized system builders for Cooler Master as well as Gigabyte as well, which is always handy. But basics is, if you wanted to build a machine, let's start. Let's pick a, I don't know, let's say processor first. So CPU. Let's pick something like a i5 latest generation. So here we go, Intel i5 8600K. So we'll click that one, so that puts it in your basket. So let's have a look. We want a motherboard to go with that. So if you click on motherboards, that will narrow down all the motherboards you can actually fit that CPU on. So you can see all the different ones which are available. It tells you the sockets. It also tells you if they're overclocking motherboards or not. And then if you scroll a bit further down, it'll actually show you the ones what aren't compatible. And if you look where the exclamation mark is, it'll tell you exactly why you can't use that. For example, incorrect socket for this generation of CPU. So we can choose any motherboard we want, really. So let's just say we wanted this Gigabyte one. You could click on the image, it'll show you a larger image of the actual product so people can see what they're getting, or you can see. You can quickly have a look at the back, see what connections there are. Or if you click on more information, or click for more information, it will tell you the full specifications. So let's just say you wanted to make sure it's got so many USB headers or whatever. It will tell you all that there, so you've got everything you need. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, I want that motherboard. It's pretty straightforward. Let's go for some memory, and then it basically narrows down the memory. You can choose, there are subheadings at the top for different types, but obviously that motherboard will only support your standard DDR4 memory, so there's no point going for the SODIMM or DDR3 because it just won't work. So you might as well just go by what it's recommended down here. So it comes up with your 4 GB of memory, and you're going down to 8 GB and so forth. So let's just say we went for something a bit blingy. Let's scroll a little bit further down. Here we go. So let's just have a look at this Team Delta memory there. Okay, so yeah, you've got Team Delta memory, RGB. We'll have one of those. Let's just say the customer goes, oh, actually, I want 16 gig instead of 8. You can either scroll down the list till you find 2 8 gigs in a kit, or on there you can see at the side it says select quantity, so you can actually choose 2. So that's pretty good. Next you can go onto hard drives, and then you can choose the type of hard drive you want. So you've got standard hard drives, you've got hybrid, M.2s and SSTs. Considering this board can do the M.2s, let's go for an M.2. So, and then it shows you basically the M.2 boards which are compatible. So let's just say go for a 240 gig, the Western Digital one. Maybe not the green one. Let's have a look. Let's go for something with a bit more oomph behind it. Let's go for a Samsung 970 Evo instead. Okay, a little bit of cost behind it, but it's a lot better part, as in speed wise. Then you can choose everything else you want. So let's click on the case. So now you can see what parts will fit in the, or what cases will fit with the parts you've chosen. So you can scroll down and up and find the one you like. So let's find something with a little bit of bling on it, a bit like the memory. Here we go. The Cooler Master H series is usually pretty good. It shows up and it's got some nice RGB effects on it. So we'll have a look at the H500 here. So we just tick the box and away you go. Next up, let's choose the power supply, and let's find a decent one. Let's actually try and go for a small power supply and see what happens if we try and choose a big graphics card. So let's just say this 400 watt power supply, for example. Now if you go into graphics and have a look, if we scroll down, it'll show you all the graphics cards which are available, but it'll also show you the ones that aren't available because the PSU doesn't have a high enough rating. So again, if you're wanting a decent graphics card, obviously you'll need to change the power supply, but this tool obviously tells you which ones you do actually need or can't use, should I say. So if we did change the power supply unit to something with a bit more oomph in it, so let's just say Cooler Master 650 watt modular there, and then you just go onto the graphics cards, and now some of the higher end ones which you couldn't choose before are all there. So every single graphics card is now available, including the GTX 1080s. So let's just pick a middle of the range one now. So let's just go for an RX 570. So you've got that one there. Now let's just say, you can see the price on the right, so that's how much the customer would actually pay. So £1,248. But let's just say the customer goes, oh, I don't know if I've got that much money, I've only got 1,200. Or they may, strangely enough, say they've got a bit more money to spend. Then you could basically go onto the processor and have a look what other processors there are, and you could say, right, well, you could actually save £54 by dropping down to the standard i5 8500 instead of having the 8600, and that way you're saving 50 quid and it takes you under 1,200. Or you could do the opposite thing and say, well, actually for just over another £50 you could actually jump up to an i7, which is very beneficial. So you just click on the one and away you go, and it adjusts the price automatically. As you can see on the right here, it says standard build. That is the standard build charge we charge for building a machine in our retail store, but you can change that in the settings yourself. You can also put extended warranty. Our standard warranty we give with them is 3 years, so extended warranty in this terms would actually be 5 years. You've got priority build, which would be the standard warranty, but done a bit quicker. And then you've got components only, so if they only wanted the components, we'd just charge them £10 for shipping. But obviously that's up to you. You can set all that yourself in the admin section, but I'm going to keep it on standard build. Obviously you're going to need Windows and all your different bits on there. We'll just quickly put Windows Home in and so forth. You have got obviously your peripherals. The peripherals don't necessarily team up exactly with the parts. So for example, as been pointed out to us, if you choose a motherboard which has got a VGA connection only, it will let you choose a monitor which has a HDMI or a DVI connection only. So when you go in onto the peripherals or additional items, which I usually say is the second half of the list, so the ones on the top are classed as components, and then the stuff underneath I'm classing as peripherals or extras. Those may not necessarily team up exactly with the components you've done, so make sure you do research what you're after, and if you are after a monitor, make sure it's DVI, VGA or HDMI depending on the socket on the board or the graphics card. So if your customer's happy with that quote, you can then go on to where it says create quote. Once you've done that, it will pop up and ask you for a reference number or name, so you can put the customer's name. I'm just going to call this test 12345. Contact details 12345. Obviously you put their address or phone number or whatever and press submit. Once you've done that, it'll say thank you for requesting a quote, and then it'll actually load you the quotation, so it'll give you the full list of all the components on there, as well as your subtotals and everything else, and it'll also give you a basket number and reference number, which these are quite handy, because if you want to recall this basket, let's just say the customer comes in a few days time and goes, oh, you quoted me for this machine, can I order it, or B, can I edit it or change it? You can. You basically go back to your in-store builder page, and on the right hand side it'll say recall quote. Type the quote number in there, or type in test 12345 and press recall. Once you do press recall, it should bring the actual machine up that you quoted them, and it's there. And obviously if there's any parts gone out of stock since you gave them the original quote, it will tell you, so then you can change out the parts if necessary. So if your customer is ready to order and everything's fine, all you need to do then is either add any custom build notes in there, so you could put down if you've added the LED lights, please stick them at the top, the bottom side, whatever, or whatever you want. If there's any special notes, you could put notes in there. It's basically for the build itself. But once you've actually done that, you can basically click on where it says create order. It should then pop up and ask for an order reference number, and then your password for either your target account or whatever you have set up for the actual install PC builder. And once that's been done, if you tell it to put it on a standard build, then Target will actually it'll actually put a basket on the Target website. You have to submit that basket, and then Target will actually build it for you. If you want components only, you can choose the option what says components only, and then they will ship you the components out, and then you can build it yourself. So obviously it's up to you which route you go down. Probably different machines may fit different needs, and if you're in a hurry you may prefer doing it one way or another, but that is up to you. Next part, we'll go into the admin section. You just press /admin onto the address bar, and it will let you in. I'm not going to show you the next page, so I'm just going to skip that bit because obviously I don't want you seeing my login details. Okay, now we're in the admin section. It's pretty straightforward. You can upload your logo here. This will replace this bit at the top. You can left align it, right align it, center align it. It would be nice if it would actually tell you how many pixels wide and high that is, so you didn't have to guess when you're doing your artwork to put it up there. Then you've got information like your address, email address, phone number, and that's generally on there, so when you're printing your invoices out for people or your quotes, it's got all your contact information on there. Authorization password, pretty straightforward. That's when you actually go to the checkout and it asks for a password, so it doesn't obviously keep putting stuff in your Target components basket to purchase. Obviously we've set this at test at the moment because we don't want you seeing what password we normally use. Next bit is markup and build charge, but as you can see the build charge bit has been crossed out because they've changed it and it's slightly further down. But in the basics, you can set your overall markup percentage. We've set 10%. Yeah, everyone's going to be going now, well, you're only putting 10% on, but we'll tell you why in a minute. You can put whatever percentage you want, 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever. You can do that. You can also go into a little bit further down, edit category markup, so you can actually go in and override each section. So you wanted a 200% markup on card readers. We usually do that because they're usually only £2 or £3. That bumps up the price up to around about £10 or so forth, so it makes it worthwhile doing. Case mods, a little bit more because LED lights are usually pretty cheap. Cases, 15%. 100% on keyboards, because a lot of cheap keyboards, what most people have, are usually only a few pounds, and so forth. But you can vary it exactly however you want. If you want to stop selling certain things, like optical drives, you can put a huge markup on like 200%, so it sort of puts people off having the optical drives. Or if you want to do it, you make a little bit extra on it, but that's obviously up to you how you set it up. Again, there is no right way, there is no wrong way. This is how we do it. You'll probably do it completely different. But let's go back to the main section and scroll a bit further down. Now this is where you've got your build charges. So you can charge a CPU cooler charge. So obviously if you were fitting a CPU cooler, you could charge an extra £5 or £10. That includes water cooling and really high-end ones. You can edit build charges as well. So you can, in here, choose what price you want to charge for your build charges. As you can see, we've got quite a few different ones on here. The basics is for that, if someone comes along and wants a £300 machine, okay, so really bottom end machine, and you only put a 10% profit on like we have, you'd only be making £30, and then there's all going to be fees on top of that more than likely. If you put 30% on, yeah, you'd be making about you'd be about making £90, which sounds a lot better. But the catch is if you quote a customer for a machine which is £1,000 or higher, then you put in 30% on top of that, it makes your profit £300, which might sound good, but when people start seeing the prices of graphics cards are £100 and £150 more than they are generally elsewhere, it can make them turn their heads. So what we do is charge at £80 set fee for building it, and then a 10% charge on top. So the 10% is the price on top of all the components. So the more components they have, or the higher end, the more profit you make. But we also make the £80 build charge. So let's just say someone went for that £300 machine. Now we'd make the £80 plus the 10%, which would make the price or profit around about £110, which is a lot better. But if they went for, say, a £1,000 machine, we're making the £80 build charge plus 10%, which would be another 100, so it's £180 profit we'll be making on it instead of £300. So in our eyes, it makes everything look a bit more even. So that way it works for us, and again, it may not work for you. You've got other settings down here where you can show in stock, out of stock items and stuff like that. Here you can do a saved config for the main page. What that basically means is you can make some preset machines and save them on the main page. So if you've got some set machines in the shop and you call them different things, I don't know, let's make it up, Mars, Pluto, Venus, whatever, you can have the Mars machine, the Pluto machine, the Venus machine on the front page of the builder, and then all you need to do is click on it and it brings up all the components already all set up, and you can go, here you go, that's the latest price for it. It's up to you if you use that or not, but you can also view the saved configs or not. We generally don't do that ourselves because we tend to find the prices as well as stock goes in and out, and it's we find it easier to build it with the customer as it goes. You have got other things like software install options. You can put a price on installing Windows, and you've also got the actual things like your opening hours and your company details. So when Windows is installed, you've got all the support information already in it if you choose them to build it for you and install Windows. You've also got your quotation and order section, so you can actually go in there and have a look at and see what people have ordered, or you've quoted them, so you can recall the quotes and so forth. One little glitch we have found sometimes, and it's only seems to be recently it's done that, is if we go in there and have a look at them, so let's just have a look at this test 2 we did earlier, and we recall it. It's a strange bug. More than likely the guys at Target will fix it as soon as we've pointed out, but it'll say there's something wrong with our configuration, which is strange because I only did this around about half an hour ago and it said it was absolutely fine. If I press close, it says, oh look, there's an issue with the motherboard, which is a little strange because it says it was fine. We've actually found if you take the memory out, so let's take the memory out, and that one's one at £69.24p, and then put the memory back in, everything's fine. And you can check the specs, it's 2400 memory, and you go onto the motherboard, and that motherboard, I'm pretty sure, will support 2400 memory, which is there. So yeah, it does. So slight issue with compatibility when recalling, but it's only something we've noticed in the last couple of days, maybe down to a recent update, which more than likely they'll fix sooner or later. Overall, this is an amazing tool. You can use it for all sorts of things, from upselling, you can get customers to join in and actually create their own machine, and they feel like they've been part of the process. And you can even actually sell items, one item at a time, if you really wanted to. So if someone came in and says, oh yeah, I need to buy Microsoft Windows, and for whatever reason you ain't got it in, you don't know what the price is off the top of your head, you can basically just click on here and say software, and say, yeah, we can get you the home one in for you tomorrow. It's £101.86p, or the professional version is £136.51p. You've got that there, and you can also go to them, yeah, you can also go and sell you some F-Secure as well, which is $29.70 or whatever. So you could do that with each individual part, so you don't actually have to use it just for machines. You could actually use it as an actual selling tool for individual components you don't have in stock. So that's it for today's review. If you enjoyed that, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you would like to read more, you can do at our website, which is www.techfortex.co.uk. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.